Good morning, everyone. Let me read this Bible passage to you for today. It's from Matthew chapter 28. Therefore, says Jesus, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. They're familiar words to you, I'm sure, and I have 3 rapid-fire points from this passage. Hold tight, here we go. The first is that Jesus gives us somewhere to go. He says, go and make disciples of all nations. In other words, this gospel is boundless. It has no edge. Go and make disciples everywhere you go. Tackle the whole world if you must. Go and make disciples of all nations. Go everywhere, says Jesus. The slight problem being that at the moment we're in lockdown. And rather than going everywhere, most of us can't go anywhere, let alone everywhere. The early church were in also similarly difficult positions. And they used all the cutting edge technology that was at their disposal. And the biggest item of cutting edge technology the early church had was the Roman road. The straight roads that took you from A to Z across the empire in every direction. Brilliant roads for communication. And as the church left Jerusalem, the church spread out across the European horizon that they could see. And there on those Roman roads, the gospel spread. Cutting edge technology. What's our equivalent today? Well, if you're a techie, and maybe you are, you have all sorts of things at your disposal to take the gospel to all nations. You can text, you can email, you can Instagram, you can blog, you can vlog, you can Facebook, you can Twitter. If you're not like that, if you're more like me, well, you can pick up the phone, you can write to somebody, you can have that 2-meter conversation across the hedge. But the important thing is that you do something. That we're told to start where we are and take that gospel out, to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And sometimes the blockage is all in our mind, not in the lockdown. Henry Ford, the car manufacturer, said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're probably right. In other words, it's in our mind. If we think we can, we will. If we think we can't, we won't. So first of all, Jesus gives us somewhere to go. Secondly, he gives us someone to introduce, himself. We're told to introduce people to Jesus, to make those disciples and to baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In other words, we're getting people off the blocks. We're firing the starting gun. We're getting people going in their journey of faith. It's a beginning. Jackie and I have been married now for 32 years, and we've known each other longer than that. And over those years, Jackie's learnt that if we're out and we meet somebody who we clearly should know, and I don't introduce Jackie and say, oh, Jackie, this is George, this is Jackie, then she doesn't ask. Because if I don't introduce, it means that I've forgotten who this person is. All we're told to do is to introduce people to a person we know very well, and that's the person of Jesus. A beginning. To fire the starting gun, to get people off the blocks, to get them moving in their journey of faith. But, yes, Jesus gives us somewhere to go, everywhere, with the gospel. Yes, we have someone to introduce, him. And we're told to get people off the blocks, but we don't finish there. It's no good starting if you can't complete. He gives us something to finish. He says, teach them to obey everything I have commanded you. And by the way, P.S., says Jesus, I am with you always to the very end of the age. We don't just begin with Jesus. We don't just introduce people to him. This is for life. It's a journey. It's a step-by-step journey through life with him walking at our sides day by day. It's called in the Bible discipleship, putting our life into his hands, being shaped by him, becoming more like him as the years go on. Our son Tom is now 30 years old, and when he was 5 years old, at the school sports day, he entered the welly race. And to make it harder, you had to wear your dad's wellies in this race, and mine are size 12. And they came most of the way up Tom's legs, I seem to remember. And he started off in this journey and he was plodding along. And he wasn't doing brilliantly, but gradually people in front of him started to fall over, trip over each other. And right at the end, Tom bursts through, not very fast, but bursts through to complete that very long race in his dad's wellies. It's not just starting, it's continuing and it's finishing with Jesus, keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. He gives us somewhere to go with the gospel everywhere. He gives us someone to introduce, himself, and to baptize and to fire the starting gun. And he gives us something to finish, to walk with him all the days of our life. God bless you as you walk that journey with him.